This week on CrunchWeek, Microsoft lays off a lot of people, Facebook rejiggers its newsfeed, and Reddit screws up. Hi, I'm Matthew Lynley.
I'm Olanoff.
And I'm Alex.
Okay, so let's jump right in. So Microsoft just laid off a ton of people and wrote off a big chunk of money for its Nokia business. What's going on
Well,
here?
the best part of the story is the math is weird because they wrote down 7.6 billion, but only bought it for 7.2.
And how does that work?
Math magic. I don't actually know. I haven't been able to figure this out.
Are they just like inventing money?
I called my usual accounting source and we sat down and we were like, okay, let's do the math. And we were just like, I don't know. But yeah, I think this was a long time coming. They signaled in the last earnings that they were going to write down some goodwill. I don't think people thought it was going to be this big. I think the numbers were shocking. And it's another 7,800 layoffs on top of the 18,000 from before and other little bits. So the company is really taking a hatchet to itself.
So why is this happening progressively instead of just all at once? I know Microsoft's in the middle of like trying to figure out what it's doing, right? So
Yeah.
why is this happening now?
Well, I think they bought the Nokia assets, they slimmed it down to have a better cost profile, and then they expected certain results, and then they didn't hit those numbers. So they're like, okay, we have to cut more, reduce costs to hit their break-even point and so forth. I just think they thought it was going to be a good buy, and it wasn't. It just was not.
I mean,
But a lot of people thought it wasn't going to be a good buy when it happened. So, I mean, it was...
have you played
there
with
was a lot of
Windows?
people at Microsoft who was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of.
Ballmer almost didn't get the deal. He threatened
Yes.
to quit if the board didn't give him the Nokia deal.
Well, he got it.
Well, and then you got Stephen Elop, and then Elop got fired, and then they brought in all the money and then fired everybody.
What does this mean for Microsoft? They don't care about mobile phones or anything like that? Like, what's...
I mean, do you guys have
Explain
Windows?
to me, the layman. Who
Do you guys
doesn't
have Windows
care.
phones?
Yeah.
I
I
own some.
touched one once. And
I don't use it on a
Couldn't
daily
find the start
basis.
menu.
No, they're done. No. So the thing is, they're still going to build a couple of phones: a high-end phone, a cheap phone, and maybe a mid-market phone, but not the plethora of devices they had out. They had like the 535, the 537.
Key phrase being going to.
Right, they're still building new stuff, but it's going to be slimmed down.
Okay.
You know, the Surface is not the whole PC market, but it sets a kind of tone for parts of the PC market. I think that's what they want to do with Windows Phone moving forward, but they have to get OEM partners on board, new hardware spun up, Windows 10 mobile out. So it's really right now kind of like, ugh, I don't really know.
And Windows 10 is losing market share right now, right?
Well, no, not really. I mean, Windows as a whole is ceding small bits of market share to Apple over time, but it still controls the vast majority of the PC market. But Windows 10 itself comes out in, what, now 2-3 weeks? So it's going to be kind of go time for that part of their larger corporate strategy.
And how does the whole Microsoft trying to offload Nokia's Here maps fit into all of this?
I mean, that's just palace
Right.
intrigue at this point in time. I mean, what do you think, Joe?
No, I mean, I guess it got bits and pieces that you thought they would hold on to. Now those are gone too. And I don't know what they're doing.
I mean, they just brought in a bunch of people from.
They just bought Nokia to kill it? Is that it?
No,
Was it just like a personal...
no one takes a good $7.6 billion and goes, you know what, I don't like this $7.6 billion, I'm going to torch it. I mean, you could, but that'd be very foolish. Look, this deal will go down, I think, in business cases.
It's coming from the man who paid $2 billion for the clip.
Well, hold on. It's not going to be as bad as Motorola. Like,
Oh, but it costs more, though. It costs more.
Similar in a way, though.
I mean, okay, so phones are a hard business to be in, basically.
Is your corporate name Apple? If not, do not do phones.
Fair enough.
Out.
Fair enough.
So Satya doing a good job, not a good job so far.
I mean, when you fire people, it's never good. I mean,
Right.
it's never. I mean, you want to be empathetic to the employees, the families. It hurts the Finnish economy, but I mean, if you're Satya and you have to hit certain numbers, you have to find a way to get to them. And I think he's making hard choices. I don't know if they're the right choices, but they're certainly ones that are difficult to make. And so I would just say, at least he has the chutzpah and the control of the company to make these choices.
Sounds like he's fixing problems that previous regime made.
At least trying to. We'll see if it works. But I mean, certainly he's pulling the trigger on a lot of big guns.
And investors, how are they feeling about this?
Stock's about flat, about 43, I want to say. So I think there's
But
a lot
up
of weight.
from Ballmer times?
Oh, definitely. So the rule of Microsoft is if it's over $40, everyone's happy. If it's less than 40, no one's happy.
Okay.
So if it's over 42, 43, 44, the internal morale will not be hurt. But people want it to go up again, but dividends and so forth. It's okay.
Okay.
Right now.
So let's shift gears a little bit. So Facebook just added a big update to its news feed. You can kind of personalize your news feed with who you guys can see, what pages you want to see at the very, very top. Whenever Facebook makes even like a tiny, tiny change to news feed, there's used to be, maybe there still is, an uproar amid users. I don't know. Like, do you think that's going to happen this time?
I mean, the feature is hidden. I mean, this is, I guess, to make up for the fact that people were complaining that the newsfeed was highlighting things that they didn't care about. I mean, there's a setting on the newsfeed on the desktop that switches over to recent, which switches itself back within a half hour. I mean, the newsfeed is kind of this weird algorithmic black hole, and now they're giving you a way to influence it. I guess.
And yet it's hidden behind like
hidden
5
in the
different
settings.
screens.
It's on mobile, and there's these lobster crab guys that are trying to help you through that are trying to help you through the process. It's a little confusing. It asks you to bring back people you've unfollowed, and then unfollow people that you.
But I unfollowed them for a reason. I don't want to bring them back. They're annoying.
Yeah.
How often do you really read your newsfeed on a daily basis? Either one of you.
Oh God, like a dozen times or so.
Yeah, I try to scan through it. But then I get like excited. The worst feeling in the world, I think, in the tech world, is to go on to something because you see it in your newsfeed and be like blah blah blah, and then realize that it was posted 27 hours ago, and like you're completely late.
It still happens.
Congratulations on your baby, and
Right.
it like happened 4 weeks ago. And obviously that's an over exaggeration, but I don't know what the newsfeed's supposed to be.
I've solved this problem. There's a Chrome extension called like cat feed, and it deletes your newsfeed and it replaces it with a cat GIF. So whenever I load Facebook now, I literally can't see my newsfeed.
So you're
it's
not
just
a
a cat
Facebook
GIF.
user. You don't use Facebook.
I use Facebook for events and to keep in touch with some people and some photos, but
Fair.
really I don't care. Call me. I don't need to see your little dorky
Right.
updates.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
Twitter is better than Facebook for that.
Well, I mean, I think everyone knows my answer to that. I think it's a much more useful format. I just think that Facebook has all the people from my past that I don't care. Whereas Twitter is everyone that I'm working with now. It's a much more immediate, I think, useful tool.
Are you
for-
going
for
to even
us.
bother using this for your newsfeed?
Well, given that I can't see my newsfeed, no.
He only sees cats.
With one cat.
So he's
actually.
fine with it.
Okay.
One cat.
So Reddit screwed up. How did they screw up?
Reddit screwed up a little. I mean, look.
A little bit.
A little bit. Reddit's always going to screw up, and that I mean, I think the point is that communities are unwieldy. The user base of the bigger user base of Reddit has no idea what's going on. But the crux of the story is, hey, there's a part of the site that's very popular called Ask Me Anything, where they have celebrities on, and people do all these, they answer all these questions, and it's a great way to get the word out about, their movies for celebrities or whatever. They fired Victoria, who is the person who handled all of that.
And did we
kind of
ever get a
helped
reason
people
for
on
that?
board. No, and she posted yesterday and didn't give a reason either, but the community, the core community, kind of, they're pissed off that they weren't told about it, that what would the transition be. Because remember, a lot of the core community, they're volunteers to help run the site.
The mods on individual
Yeah,
subreddits.
the moderators and stuff. So they were really pissed.
And they shut
don't
down a lot of the...
So what happened was, after they fired her, they made the AMA area private. So you couldn't even go and see past ones. It was locked for all intents and purposes. So a lot of the moderators were like, what's going on?
Right.
We're going to shut ours down too. So popular ones like Picks and Sports and
Hip hop heads and
Right.
our Chicago.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of traffic that Reddit was losing. It's a powerful community.
How much of this was actually just bandwagon outrage? Because I had never heard of Victoria before. I know she was very important and so forth, but I feel like people joined on.
I think she stands for just piss poor communication.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter who the boss at CEO is. Right now it's Ellen Powell, and Alexis Ohanian is kind of involved. But it doesn't matter who it is.
Reddit's
what
always been
variation.
bad at that, right?
Yeah, Reddit's always been bad at it, but it's this today. It'll be something else next week. It'll never be perfect. Ellen Powell apologized, said they've done a bad job over the years of communicating. Didn't give any examples though.
But that was a pretty strong apology. That was a blanket. We screwed up for years. We've promised and not delivered. And
Yeah.
it was at least honest and said we're sorry. It wasn't
Yeah.
a bland we're sorry for the inconvenience. She was like, we screwed up.
But Reddit continues to try to make a business out of an anonymous community of people who go online to talk shit. And
Yeah.
a lot of Reddit does really cool things, good things. The AMA is very interesting, but it's uncontrollable and unwieldy, and we learn from Dig and other
So how do you
communities.
reconcile that with Reddit needing to build a business? I mean, it's a company worth hundreds of millions of dollars, right? So-
Well, yeah. I mean, its valuation's $500 million at what it last raised, so to speak. But you're making money off of eyeballs, and you're making money off of
Reddit
again.
Gold.
So you have its core community that kind of runs the show, and then you have the users that are just, they come and visit, and they're your page views. So that's who you're making money off of. These users, these millions and millions of users. But the core community is like, well, guess what? We just showed you how quickly we can shut this mother down if you don't give us what we want. But they don't know what they want, and Reddit doesn't really know what they want. I think Ellen Powell, really, the company needs to go, look, dudes, to keep this thing up, this forum or wherever the hell Reddit is, we need to make money. And this is how we want to make money. and you know we want you to have your fun too.
And just be totally transparent about it, right?
Be as transparent as possible. Yeah.
But you're appealing with maturity to a bunch of 12-year-olds. I mean, the Reddit demo is not our age group.
They don't care about a business or a company.
No, because they've never had, look, I don't want ads on it. I don't like ads. Well, then stuff is not free, you know. But how do you explain that little point to people that don't understand how a balance sheet works?
Right.
To them, it sounds, it's corporate greed. It's them taking away our community. When in reality, it's a business.
All right, well, that's it for Crunch Week this week. Thanks for joining us.